What's going on, drivers? Welcome to Trucking with Old Snapper, and this is the voice of Old Snapper. Anyway, I talk about these cameras at Crete Carriers. I saw Joy of Trucking did a video today. Um, I like Joy of Trucking, pretty good channel, and I can't say whether he left some things out or not. I would say, in my personal experience, there may be some things kind of left out of that. I've had a driver-facing camera before, but I had an accident. That's what got me the driver facing camera. In my orientation, the last time I came back to Crete, which would have been January of um, 2021, whenever I came back this last time, there was 13 or 14 of us in there. Nobody had a camera. Um, in the orientation where I actually had to get a camera, I was the only one in the whole deal that had a camera. And you'll see at Crete that very few people have them. I mean, like it's rare that you run across a truck that has a camera. Now, one of the things he stated is that it's not a problem with him. He didn't mind. Uh, but at the same time, you got to take into the account what drew a person into trucking. A lot of people come into trucking, not all, but a lot, because we don't like a boss sitting there over our shoulders, and pretty much anybody will get nervous if you're watching them 24/7. You could take the guys that are sitting in cubicles. If you put a camera over their shoulder or staring at them at their desk, they're not going to like that. Okay, and you will end up with a high turnover rate. But in trucking, especially, most of us are very independent people, very self motivating people, and we don't want something that's watching us 24/7. Now I know what a lot of these companies will tell you, and the cameras do work this way, is they'll tell you that it records in a 20-second loop. And then if an accident happens, it'll take 10 seconds before it, 10 seconds after it, and that's what it sends to the company. So your privacy is not really invaded. Well, it's still always recording. You know, um, Not only that, but let's say you're parked and you don't have the front curtains closed. A lot of times I don't close the front curtains. I close the middle curtains whenever I go to bed. But you know, what if I'm sitting here having a conversation with my attorney or with my wife, and a gust of wind hits the truck and that camera goes off, and I'm parked, because it will. It can. You can bump a dock and set it off. I used to set mine off all the time, bumping the dock. You know, and then now, because it catches sound as well, so now they're hearing a private conversation on that camera. And it's things like that. Um, Not only that, but there's been questions as to whether they can access that camera. Um, Anytime that they want, which I'm pretty sure they probably can. I'm pretty sure at most companies they probably can, and that too would be a problem because again, it's recording sound as well. So what if I'm having a private conversation? You got to remember, this truck is my home. Not saying I don't have a home at home, because I do, but where do I spend more time? There or in this truck? I spend more time in this truck. So it is my home. 80% of my life is spent in this truck. So the way I feel about it is, if you have a driver that you don't trust so much that you got to put a camera on him, you shouldn't be hiring that driver. And that's my own opinion. That's why I don't like them camera ideas. Now, something he mentioned in there that I haven't heard anything about, and I'm in contact with a lot of people within management, so why I haven't heard about it, I'm not sure. Maybe it's because they know I probably wouldn't agree with it, so they're not telling me anything. But he mentioned that the company's running a test on outward facing cameras. I'm not sure what to think about that, because I have yet to see not one single truck with an outward facing camera on it. None. I've seen the trucks that are in the camera program with the double with the camera like he has on his truck, that had incidents or tickets or whatever. And they got to run on that program for 60 days, like I did. I did it one time. But I have yet to see not one single truck with an outward facing camera. So I'm kind of wondering about this test they're running. And he said that the company's going to be going to outward facing cameras throughout every truck. Now, there was a point in time, probably 6, 7 years ago, when there was a rumor that they were going to put cameras in trucks before, and that's when they backed off of it and went to that camera program because there were so many people that were like, no, they're turning their trucks, they're going to quit. But you got to remember that right now is actually the perfect time for Crete to do this because they can handle even if 20% of the 20% of the fleet said, you know what, screw this, we'll go to work somewhere else. It's not going to hurt Crete because freight is slowing down. It'll actually help them because they don't have to lay anybody off if it gets that slow. And that may be the thinking behind it. Now, you listening to this right now, you might say, Snapper, why are you worried about an outward facing camera? Well, I don't really care about a camera at all. I run my own camera in my truck. Some of y'all have seen some of the videos where I use my own footage. Um, but that's me controlling that camera. Not controlling it going down the road, but it's my camera. I have it there by my choice. If I want to turn that dang thing off, I turn it off. I want to turn it on, I turn it on. The same way that camera can help you in an accident, it can also hurt and you want that camera, you can get rid of it. If you screw up, you may cost yourself and your company millions of dollars, and that camera may prove it for you. You know what I'm saying? And we're human. Mistakes happen. Let's say you screw up and it's your fault. That camera is going to remove any fight that the company could have had. So at the same way that it helps you, it can hurt you. It can go either way. Now, you might say, well, you shouldn't be doing anything unsafe. Well, you don't. You don't have to be doing anything unsafe to make a mistake. You can literally just make a mistake. And with a good attorney and no camera footage, you might get out of it. But with camera footage, it ain't going to matter what kind of attorney you got. So it's always been kind of a running joke among drivers, that if you got your own personal camera up there, if it's not your fault, yeah, I got camera footage. If it's your fault, as soon as you come to a stop, that camera disappears. It's always been kind of a running joke amongst us drivers. Now, as far as the outward facing cameras, I ran with US Express. They had them. Um, I ran somewhere else at one time that had them. I don't remember where it was. I never had any problems with the outward facing camera. Never even had a phone call from US Express. And I never had a phone call, I don't believe, with Crete the whole time I was on their program, the 60-day program. I don't tend to do unsafe things going down the road. And not only that, but if you ever rode with me, you'd probably be frustrated because I ride a little bit slower than traffic. I don't always run against the governor. I'm usually running 65, 66. I don't run. I use that little bit of extra speed I got to go around somebody if I need to pass somebody, right? But I don't. I don't run against the governor all day long. It's just not me. I run a little slower. I like to be able to react to what's going on, and it's just a less stressful day. I'm not constantly swinging out, making lane changes. Every time you make a lane change, you're increasing your chance for an accident. But here's my problem with the outward facing camera, because a lot of guys will say, it's an outward facing camera, you're safe, you're fine. They can't see you, you still have your privacy. Two things. One, it still picks up sound. Number two, they can see the reflection in the window. And I'm going to tell you a little story. When I was at US Express, a friend of mine had his girl ride with him, and she used to ride with him periodically, like a week or so at a time. And I never knew that he didn't go through US Express for it, but I knew that he did have her riding with him because I would talk to him on the phone, and sometimes she was there, and sometimes she wasn't. Well, at one point, he had gotten in some trouble. He called me, he's like, man, I don't know if they're going to let me go or what. Well, they ended up keeping him. They didn't let him go, but he had to put his girl on, have the paperwork filled out and notarized and sent in. The whole way they found out his girl was riding with him was because of the outward facing camera. the reflection in the window picked her up sitting in the passenger seat. It'll pick you up sitting in the driver's seat. They can see you still with that outward facing camera because it's picking up the reflection off the windshield. You know, um, and when I was in orientation at U.S. Express, they had warned us about that. They said, look, you still want to drive, make sure you are clearly not doing anything you're not supposed to do because that camera will pick you up in the driver's seat. And if an incident happens, they will see if you grabbed your phone or anything like that, especially in the pre-dawn hours or dusk hours. Especially, it comes in real clear on that windshield. They will be able to see what you were doing. So basically, it's still you still sees you. You ain't doing anything. So it's still the same thing. And I look at it like this: if I owned a trucking company and I felt like I need to put cameras in my trucks, you know, why do I not trust the people that I'm hiring? Am I not training the people I'm hiring properly? All of them sorts of things. That would be the questions running through my mind. It's just like these braking sensors that we have, this right lane change sensors we have, and stuff like that. I personally believe you're asking for trouble with that stuff because let's say that sensor in the front of the truck goes out. You get a driver used to the truck alarming him anytime he's too close to another truck, and he's driving down the road in La La Land thinking about Susie Q in Lincoln, Nebraska, right? Some girl he knows in Lincoln, Nebraska. Not paying attention, ain't worried about if he gets too close, the truck's going to slow him down, it's going to beep at him, it's going to do these different things. So he's become accustomed to it. All of a sudden, that radar malfunctions. Truck in front of him or car in front of him hits their brakes, he's daydreaming, bam, kills him. Because you're training him not to pay attention by having that there. Period. Same thing with a right lane change sensor. The sensors that they're putting on the right sides of the trucks now for making that right lane change. After a while, you're training that driver not to pay as close attention because that alarm will alert him or her. Now, if that sensor ever fails, you got an accident. You see what I'm saying? So I don't believe all technology is good technology. I believe we're putting ourselves in a bind, and especially as these trucks get a little older, I believe we're going to see more problems. Um, and there's no telling how many accidents have happened that can be attributed to that braking system. Because I know in the wintertime you don't want the truck braking without, at just any given time. Car pulls out in front of you, you're crossing a little patch of ice, sensor picks it up, it hits the brakes, you jackknife. I mean, there's thousands of scenarios that I could give you on a situation like that. But that's just my 2 cents on the subject. That's just how I feel about it. Would I quit over a camera? I don't know. Probably not. Would I like it? No, no, I wouldn't like it. Um, do I feel it's overboard? I sure do. I feel it's a little bit extreme, and especially for a company that's self-insured. So it's not like you're getting an insurance discount. You're self-insured. You're literally just don't trust your drivers. So and I do take a little bit of offense to that because I take pride in what I do. So if a company doesn't trust me to the point that they have to do that, well, I feel like maybe I shouldn't be there, and that does cross my mind sometimes. I miss the days when we drove trucks and trucks didn't drive for us. But anyway, what are y'all's thoughts on this? What do you think about this? What have any of you heard of the cameras going into the Crete trucks? Have any of you that work for Crete on the program with just an outward facing camera on this trial? Because according to Joy of Trucking, there's supposed to be some kind of trial going on. Now, I've been working the Walmart fleet out of Pauls Valley, and there's, oh God, probably 100 trucks, 100 different trucks working this fleet. And any given time when I pull on the Pauls Valley Distribution Center, there's probably 50 trucks there. I have yet to see not one single truck with an outward facing camera. I haven't seen any with the camera like Joy of Trucking has, because they're really not that common. But if you've heard anything about that, or you're in touch with someone up in upper management or whatever, and this is something that's happening, I'd be curious to know about it. Maybe we can do an interview about it. Let me know down in the comments below. Y'all take care, stay safe. Remember, we are all family out here, even if we are a bit dysfunctional. And let's keep trucking.